What's going on, guys? Austin Zaback here with another YouTube video where we talk all things finance, stock market, real estate, and obviously stimulus checks. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. And today's gonna be a big day. This week is going to be a big week. So let's just break down all the updates that we have with these stimulus checks, everything you need to know, what we're gonna be looking at moving forward, and let's just go ahead and dive right into it. I'd really appreciate it if you took just a quick moment right before we jumped into it and just smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. So we have reached a point where we do have that bipartisan support as of this weekend, and now we are just waiting for Congress to pass a new bill, which I'm gonna reveal exactly what that looks and feels like in today's video, obviously, but basically it is a green light from here on out. The White House has already basically said that they would sign it. The president said he would sign it, and now we are just waiting, actually today, depending on when you're watching the video, for Congress to go ahead and approve the bill. Steve Mnuchin went ahead and came on, and he basically said that their goal is to get direct deposits into the hands of American people before, well, he actually said before Christmas, I believe, but really probably before the new year, aka the holidays. Okay, so that is obviously the goal, and we could actually see direct deposits going into your bank account potentially by next week, as early as next week, okay, which would obviously be incredible. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. You know, how much money does it entail? Who is going to get the money? Where is it going to be allocated to? And all of that. So this is a $900 billion bill, a little bit less than $1 trillion. And if you've watched some of my other stimulus videos, I actually talked a lot about in my last stimulus video, which has been about a week or so, how you know, there was a really high likelihood that we would see another bill, and it would in fact be less than $1 trillion. So the idea of the $1,200 stimulus check is highly unlikely before the end of 2020, okay? Now what we're really looking at, in my opinion, is that we're gonna see a $600 per person stimulus check. Now I'm gonna go ahead and break down obviously what it looks like for dependents and what it looks like, you know, if you're married and all of that, okay, if you have children. But you know, what we're really looking at in a nutshell is probably a $600 per person stimulus check, you know, before the new year, right? And then, you know, into the new year, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. This $600 check that we're looking at is gonna be obviously $600 for a qualifying adult, $1,200 for a married couple, and basically this is gonna heavily depend on your tax return, okay? So if you made less than $75,000, then you would obviously qualify for the $600. You would also receive $600 to each one of your dependents, okay? So again, $75,000 or less if you're single, $150,000 or less if you're married, $600 per qualifying adult, $1,200, okay, total, if you know, you're a married couple making less than $150,000 a year, and then $600 for dependents. And again, it'll just be a phase out, right? So if you made, you know, let's just say $76,000 per thousand you made above the threshold, it will reduce your stimulus check by $5. When we look back at the CARES Act, it was actually quite similar to that, okay? It was just a phase out, and for every couple $1,000s more that you made, it would go ahead and just reduce that overall check. Now with this $900 billion bill that we're seeing hopefully get passed, hopefully by Congress today and then get signed by the White House, there's actually no cap on dependents, okay? So, you know, with the CARES Act, and with a lot of the other proposals that we've seen, you know, there's been a cap with dependents. There's been, you know, 3 dependents or even no dependents, right? So there is no cap on dependents with the $900 billion bill that we're looking at today. Again, these checks or direct deposits we could see, and most likely will see, depending on how the rest of today goes and maybe tomorrow and Wednesday, you know, before the new year, which again, people are looking at the bill and they're saying, look, you know, we have all this additional money kind of sitting on the sidelines. We have to do something with it. Let's get it back into the economy, right? Let's get it back into, you know, the hands of the American people that qualify, obviously, and let, you know, in theory, right, the consumer spending is going to go up, right? Right before the holidays, people are going to go, this money's going to get back into the economy, circulate through the economy, and who knows, right? You know, obviously the stock market is down a little bit today, not much, but you know, we could see ultimately, you know, maybe a new all-time high. So there is an 11-week extension for unemployment, okay? It is looking like with the $900 billion bill that it'll be an additional $300 a week with another 11-week extension, okay? That is what we're looking at as of right now. So if you remember the CARES Act, I actually, by the way, just got my stimulus check. I wish I could show it to you, but I don't have it here with me right now. I haven't deposited it yet, but I got it like a month ago from March or April, okay? So when would you get paid with this new bill? If this new bill gets passed, right, when would you actually get your money? That's obviously what a lot of you want to know. So I would really appreciate it if you would take just a quick second and just smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, okay? Also, consider subscribing to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. We're typically talking about how to make money, how to save money, how to invest your money, you know, the stock market, stimulus, real estate, pretty much anything and everything that is finance related. So there is a payment group system used with the CARES Act, and you know, people got their checks in theory based on a couple of different factors, and there were multiple different factors. This one would be very similar. Basically what would happen is, you know, if you have direct deposit set up with the IRS, you know, then you would actually get an electronic deposit into your bank account, okay? So you would most likely receive that money very quickly. So if you are getting a paper stimulus check, then it will most likely be based on AGI, right, adjusted gross income, and those making on their tax return, right, the least amount of money will be prioritized to get their stimulus check first so that they can take that money and use it immediately, right, because they need it the most in theory, so they can pay their rent, they can pay their mortgage, they can buy, you know, presents for the holidays potentially, whatever they need, right? And then those people that made more on their tax return would in theory get their check a little bit later, right? They would get their check, you know, a few weeks later, you know, who knows, right? I filed my taxes late, which is why I got my stimulus check late, but I do know that a lot of people, you know, didn't get their check for quite some time. Now, those people did end up making a little more on their tax return, but that is most likely what this would end up kind of looking like and playing out to be. Okay, another really interesting thing that this $900 billion bill would do is it would actually extend the federal moratorium through January. So basically, you know, right now it is set to expire at the end of the year. You know, the eviction moratorium, okay, that was put in place, I believe, in September of 2020, where basically, you know, you're not allowed to evict anybody, right? That in theory would go through January, and then they're predicting that by then, you know, the incoming, Joe Biden administration would, you know, then extend it if needed. And also that there would be $25 billion of aid going towards renters, okay? Now, it is currently pretty unclear as to how that would be distributed, but they are focused on renters, okay? They're focused on helping renters that are facing an eviction that couldn't afford to pay rent. So it is looking like there will be more PPP, there will be more EIDL, Payment Protection Program, okay, is the PPP, about $325 billion, and then I believe about $275 billion of that is gonna go to the PPP supposedly, and then you have $45 billion for transportation, you have $82 billion for schools, $20 billion for vaccine distribution, and about $13 billion for expansion of food stamps. There's a lot of stuff in this bill, okay? Just reading through it, just listening to a bunch of different interviews, just listening and watching what has happened over the weekend, and reading a bunch of articles this morning, there's most likely going to be a lot more details to come, okay? You know, there's even, I mean, they're even trying to put in the bill, basically, you know, that you can't have any like surprise medical bills, right? So under like this provision, essentially, you know, doctors and hospitals basically wouldn't be able to charge a bunch of like out-of-network costs during this time, okay? So there's a lot really at play here, and we will see hopefully by the end of today, if not tomorrow, you know, what is ultimately gonna happen. So if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to my channel, smashing that like button, watching my non-stimulus related videos. Those are also amazing videos. I would really appreciate it. And I'm really curious to see how this week plays out, okay? And hopefully you are too. Let me know in the comments section down below how you think it is all gonna play out. I'm really curious to know what you think, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.